call this evening's meeting to order. This is a regular city council meeting for August 20th, 2024. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Bendis.
Here.
Councilman Carter.
Here.
Councilwoman Daly.
Here.
Mayor Gillis.
Here.
Councilwoman Harris. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Martin.
Here.
Councilman Williams.
Here.
Form present.
We have a moment of silent prayer.
Mayor Gillis, if I could,
Yes.
if we could just keep the family of Dave Vandenbosch and Jennifer in our prayers. We lost his father earlier today.
Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have a motion to approve this evening's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Comments, questions, concerns? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have one presentation tonight. We have a presentation on brownfields redevelopment and tax incremental finance presentation by City Manager Gerstenberg. Mrs. Gerstenberg?
Thank you, Mayor Gillis. At the last city council meeting, Councilman Bendis requested that I put together a presentation for the benefit of the public to talk about, a little bit more about what brownfields redevelopment and tax increment financing was. So, here we are. So, the Brownfield Redevelopment Financing Act was passed in 1996. The goal of the program was to create economic opportunities, address environmental contamination, revitalize communities through investment, increase the tax base, create jobs, improve the value of surrounding properties, and preserve historic or cultural community icons. This act provides a method of project financing called tax increment financing, or TIP. It was first used in California in 1952. It allows projects to borrow against future increases in property tax revenues to fund public or private projects. There are currently thousands of TIF districts operating in the United States. TIFs promote partnerships between government and the private sector that might not occur otherwise and create future increased revenues for government. So how does it work? When a vacant, blighted, contaminated, or otherwise challenged property is redeveloped, it becomes more valuable. Increase in value results in an increase in property taxes paid to the city, school district, or other taxing authorities for that property. The additional tax paid due to the increased property value is referred to as the increment. This increment is captured by the taxing authority and used to reimburse the developer. Once the developer has been reimbursed, the city, school district, and other taxing authorities begin retaining all taxes collected for the property, fully realizing the increase in tax revenue from the development. Typical projects pre-2023 would be cleaning up a contaminated property, demolishing a blighted building or public nuisance, redeveloping a functionally obsolete property that can be no longer used for its original purpose, restoring a historical building, removing underground storage tanks. A project example was in on Water Street in Marine City. That site was contaminated with volatile organic compounds in the soil and in the groundwater. There was a $1.4 million investment, and the years of the plan was 23 years. So that's a very typical project. However, in 2023, Michigan Public Act 90 of 2023 was passed. On July 28th, Governor Whitmer signed Michigan Public Act 90 of 2023, which now makes certain housing projects eligible to take advantage of the Brownfield Redevelopment Act and tax increment method of financing. Eligible project costs include site preparation, public infrastructure, and safety improvements. Unfortunately, they did not change the name from Brownfield Redevelopment Act. It should be, just Redevelopment Act, but this is a legitimate use of the TIF program under the Brownfield Redevelopment Act. Why make housing projects eligible? Right now, it costs more to develop housing than what the majority of Michiganders can afford. This new program helps builders and developers to bring building costs down. By using this incentive, developers can sell to families at or below 120% of an area's median household income, which is the majority of the population. Specifically, the Corecat Properties LLC Brownfield Plan. The plan is for 52 single-family homes ranging from 1,287 to 1,526 square feet on approximately 19.346 acres at Mill and State Street. The total project investment is $18 million. Eligible costs include streets, sidewalks, lighting, sanitary sewer, storm sewers, water mains, curbs and gutters, and landscaping related to site restoration, not the landscaping of private homes. The current taxable value of the property is $156,370. The city will continue to annually receive the same amount of taxes as it does now, approximately $2,024 for about 24 years. As the homes are built, the St. Clair County Brownfield Redevelopment Authority will capture the increase in property taxes and reimburse the developer for eligible infrastructure costs. Around year 25, the future taxable value of the property is estimated to be $8,561,500, and the city will start collecting approximately $131,000 annually. The city will continue to collect administrative fees, special assessments, and trash pickup fees. The following taxes will not be captured by the plan: the school education tax, which is 6 mills, the school operating tax, which is 18 mills, and the school debt, which is 2.8 mills. So this is a layout of the proposed development. There is one entrance off of State Street. The estimated home prices are between $275,000 and $325,000 each. Now, typical lot size in a subdivision is usually around 60 by 120. These proposed lots are 70 by 120 and 70 by 140, so they are larger size lots. So if for some reason that this particular program did not go through, it would revert back to an R1 zoning permitted use. So someone could still buy that property. They could still put in one family detached housing. They could put in a state licensed residential facility, which would include adult foster care, family homes, foster family homes, and foster family group homes. It could be a farm, could be a publicly owned and operated library, cemetery, the utility and public service building, state licensed child care, adult foster care facilities, a church, or a school. So those are just some of the uses under the zoning that are eligible right now. And that is all I have on Brownfield today. Thank you, Mayor Gill.
Thank you. We're now moving on to public comment. Anybody who would like to speak to the council, you have 5 minutes to speak. Please state your name.
Cindy Smith, 927 Gulfview. I'm also the president of the Algonac Housing Commission. So on behalf of them, I'd like to notify you guys that they were a little upset when they shut down Clay Road during the Pickerel tournament, being that was their only road in and out to their parking where they live. They need to be notified, or they still need to have access to it. You know, I could see shutting it off to general people going through, but they should be allowed in and out to their parking. For them to try to find alternate parking, especially when some are handicapped or disabled, is not reasonable, especially when you're having a big function there and parking is very hard to find. So I know we have the bump and run coming up next month. We need to make sure some things are in place anytime we have functions there that they have access. And then I also want to address something else. I guess I'm going to be the complainer again, as noted in your minutes from last meeting. That's how they categorized me discussing and my concerns about the Brownfield project. So I will complain again about it. I still don't agree with it. So if the project's 18 million divided by 52 homes, that's $342,153. So why are we giving them over 2 million, I think is what it, or over 25 years? I still don't agree with it, because we are still losing all of our millage money and the property taxes for that long, which most of us won't even see or benefit from. And I know, I believe some council members still have issues, or are still concerns that, is this really right for the city? And with that, you've mentioned our property values go up. Well, we all know what happens when our property values go up. The only time we want our property value to go up is when we're selling, because otherwise the rest of us are now gonna be paying higher taxes, higher millage money, so that we can support those 52 homes for 25 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Oh, she's.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Good evening, Eileen Tesh. I appeared at the commissioners' meeting last week or 2 weeks ago to talk about the brownfield development after I was contacted by one of the commissioners, Steve Samasco, who's up in the first district, the far north end of the county. So he called and asked me if I knew anything about the brownfield development, and he was coming down here for a graduation party, so he wanted to take a look at it. And then he just told me about it. I had not been back there on Smith Street. I went back, started talking to the neighbors, and Steve Commissioner Samasco, he said I have some concerns, especially this 24-year plan or deferment by the with the developer, by the city. And when I asked Mr. City Council Member Ed Carter, we ran into each other, and I said, where'd you get the 24 years? Just curious. And he said, well, that's what the developer proposed. I said, really? So that already gave me concern. And now with this, you know, you show the value of the houses. It's supposed to be brownfield development, and the commissioners are very concerned. They do not want to set a precedent. There was a big article in the Metro Times about all of the brownfield money that went to Detroit, to all these businesses and developments, and away from the schools. So when they say they're not gonna steal any of the tax money for the schools, you better look into that, because it may be, just a play on words, because it clearly says, the, school millages. So you've got 300,000 average for a home. Well, that 300,000 average for a home, it's supposed to be low income. I don't know all the, details of brownfield development. I just know that the people are not happy, the ones that I spoke to on Smith Street, and the county commissioners are very reluctant to move forward, and they're gonna do their own research. The developer was there, at the last meeting, and he's gonna meet with the commissioners, because as he said, you don't know what you're talking about. I said, well, if I don't know what I'm talking about, which is nothing new, many of the city council members, and thank you Kathy Harris for coming up to the county commission meeting to find out more what was going on. What disturbs me is that you voted unanimously for this brownfield project, and now you're seeing it for the first time. Also, I'm a little upset, or a lot of people are, with the low-income housing plan for the Algonac Elementary School. We know you love the city as much as we do, but why are you making these decisions? Low-income housing, brownfield development, where's the businesses? Where's the attraction to bring the people to our city? Thank you.
I just had a question on the Brownstown development. It said infrastructure was included in that, and I know that we are on the end of what the watershed can handle for our area. So if we have to develop that further, is that gonna be included in that part of the infrastructure? Just curiosity.
Thomas, I live at 723 Fruit Street. When I first learned of this Redfield School property being purchased back in the winter, I didn't see eye to eye with it. Nothing was brought to us in the community that you guys were gonna blow $186,000 with no notice. Then turn around, you wanna ask the community, what should we do with it? We said community center, maybe outreach programs for the youth. Now you guys want to turn a portion of the building into housing, force our taxes to go up, forfeit 24 years of taxes that come back to us in the community. Something that could do repairs on the boardwalk, maybe install a bathroom over there because the porta john can't get cleaned on a regular basis or stocked with toilet paper. You got little kids that have to run across the street to use the other porta john behind Dairy Queen. Can we use our mind and reassess the situation and be ethical about it? Maybe get community input before just pissing away $186,000? You know, we could use street lights. I've seen multiple comments on the community pages about lack of lighting around town, concerned issues in the late hours. But someone of an older age may not go approach the situation and find out what's going on because it's so dim and eerie. They feel threatened by the nature of the situation. At what point are you guys going to use logical sense to approach situations? I made comments to the city for 3.5 years about a storm sewer lid that was missing. It took 3.5 years to get the sewer lid replaced before a small child, not paying attention to his whereabouts, fell in the sewer 3 feet to possibly a drowned death. And the excuse I get from Lori was, it's a custom size, we have to get it made. No, it's not. No, it is not. I can go snatch up a sewer lid off another structure and drop it right on the same one. Don't fill our head with lies. You've been elected to represent us. You can be replaced just as easily.
Thank you.
So I guess one of the things I guess I wanna just talk about is, I know there's been a lot of concern about the brownfield plan, but I'm also trying in my head to challenge myself a little bit to see, maybe what are the benefits of the plan, and I have my notes here. Could it, create economic opportunities, could provide a method of, project financing, site contaminated volatile organic compounds, will help build more affordable housing. Could it help with infrastructure as it's in poor shape, low income housing? Could maybe help to move people into St. Clair County. I understand there are concerns with the brownfield plan. However, I would just suggest that we just think about this carefully. We shouldn't look over the positive aspects if there are some. I think it's one of those things you have to balance the good with the bad. And I understand that a lot of people here are concerned about the project. And obviously I live in Bernard Township, so I understand that amounts that are coming in is probably not, maybe not appropriate. But I just hope that if we are gonna turn this down, I do hope that we really think about, if we're gonna turn this down, that of some positive effects that possibly could come from this plan. It's just like, I think we have to think about, and not try to be too impulsive on it if we can. I understand there are other projects. A guy mentioned a sewer lid not being closed. Obviously, if that exists, that obviously is an issue. I just think that obviously sometimes we can only focus on one project at a time. Sometimes our resources are limited. We can only focus on certain aspects. So I think that's just something we have to keep in mind. I mean, obviously, I just hope that we keep a cool head about this, and I hope that we balance the pros and the cons. Because if it could help the community, it could help the community, and I think we should. If the pros do outweigh the cons, I do believe that it would be wise to go forward with this. I just think we have to measure these things, and I think that if we manage both the pros and the cons effectively, and maybe who knows, maybe the cons do outweigh the pros. But I just think we could think about, have a deep thought about what this can do to our community, and well, I don't live in the community, but just think about sort of what this does. And I understand sometimes that we can succumb to spontaneous outrage. Sometimes we can be very passionate about things that we're against. but I just hope that doesn't drown out if there are positive aspects. Then maybe we should consider that. That's what I want to say. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Kathy Jones, Concord Gulfview. There are pros and cons to it. To me, it's great. You wanna build back there, great. Do it on your own dime. We have to, so should they. As far as the presentation, it says they're not gonna take from the school, but they will, and it was in the Times Herald, if you read it, they will take from the millages. They point out which ones they're gonna take. I was at the commission's meeting, and what troubled me was that all of you voted yes, but the one gentleman said that in the next 24 years, as we're talking about, the city will lose $2.5 million. So he did his homework. I think we need to do our homework and really look at this before you say, yes, no problem. And I'm all for extra house, you can bring in families, the school, blah, 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 but at whose expense? You know, people vote yes on millages for a reason. We don't want that money to be used for something else. It should stay put. If you put your money away in the bank for a particular reason, you're not gonna pull it out because the kids want Dairy Queen. You know what I mean? That's not how it works, at least in my.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Denise Kelly, 486 Dixie Boulevard. My mother moved here last year. She built a 1,400 square foot home. Well, we all did, we helped keep the costs down. Her taxes are over $4,000 a year. And I don't see how it's fair that these get deferred. If she can do that by tapping into her ROA, or her IRA from going down to nothing, if they can't afford it, they shouldn't build it. And we shouldn't either. For 24 years, no, she doesn't get that option. Why should they? We have enough low-income houses around here. I don't think it's gonna do our community any good to add any more. It's not fair to everybody else who's working so hard. It's not right. I won't agree with it, and I think it should be put up to our community to vote on that. I don't think it should lie with just you guys deciding our fate. I don't think that's fair either. We're all part of the community, we should all be in the community and be decision makers together. How else are we all gonna grow if not together? That's all I have to say.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Chris Beck at 647 Point Trumbull Road. And I'm hearing tonight a lot of concerns about, the brownfield, development. There seems to be a lot of questions about monetarily, but I don't know how much detail that you really looked at as far as, have you looked at, from what I understand, there's no landscaping. And how many other cities have had problems, they put in subdivisions, no trees, and then the surrounding areas get flooded? Has anybody even thought about, maybe there should be a clause, if you're gonna sell, it should be in the purchase agreement, that these people that are purchasing, part of the purchase agreement would be that they have to plant, say, at least 2 trees on their lots, so that the surrounding areas don't get flooded. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Pat Florence. My concern about, this brownfield project, it has a lot to do with just about the issues of the sewers here and the over discharging that the Port Huron Water Authority walked away from Algonac of this plant and saying that, you know, you've been over discharging, you keep over discharging, you keep over discharging. They walked away because they didn't want to get in trouble. So, we're now gonna put in 52 new homes, whatever's gonna go on that elementary school. Are you guys familiar with St. Clair Shores? Do you see how the over discharging out of that area goes and it screwed up all that property? Do you understand that when there's a bad rain, you can actually see, the poop on the seawalls? There's guys there that have lakefront property that they have to go and get dredged to be able to bring water back to their seawall every few years. You know, it's poor planning. If our infrastructure cannot handle what it has now, and then to go and put more in. So the infrastructure has to take care of that, because every one of us is gonna pay for that also. So I think better planning has to be done before you move forward with anything like this. You got all these onesie, twosies, 3 houses going back in Ira, going back here, some are on septic, some aren't, that are adding to the problem. So it needs to be better planning before you go and take the scope of this and then not getting absolutely no tax dollars for 24 years.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joe Green. Our home is on 915 Mill Street, which butts up along the Brownfield subdivision. If you count the homes that we're gonna be adjacent to, there is 11, right up along our borderline, with an open lot for maybe 12, which ain't included on this Brownfield. How is that gonna increase the value of my property? If my taxes are gonna go up to pay for this, tell me how my taxes are gonna go up with that many neighbors. I asked if the fence was gonna be put up. No, ain't gonna have no fence. How long is the backyards? I think the backyards are only, what, 35 foot? I think they're 35 foot. Now, how much of an encroachment am I gonna have on my property? Now, that's my problem. Now, another problem I see down the line, 24 years from now, you tell me how good those roads are gonna be. You're gonna finally collect the money, and you're gonna have to soak it right back into that subdivision. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I am the owner of 915 Mill Street,
Your name, please?
Rose Green. And we talked to Paul Courcat. He was a nice gentleman. He even took down a tree. Not the tree that's over 100 years old that hangs over our home. But since this project of killing off the woods, I have water seeping up through my foundation in my basement. How many surrounding homes have basements? Does anybody here? Do anybody else have basements? Because now that he took the woods down, I have standing water that, of the years of owning this home, isn't standing. But because of his action, there's a reaction. So what's gonna happen when he rebuilds the surrounding area? When he puts in the gully around, is that coming on my property too? So I'm gonna have to worry about 12 houses flinging dog shit and whatever else they want in their yard? Because you guys all thought it was great? There's nothing wrong with being a small town. But first you have to build the village and businesses before you can build the homes.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Can I just say one thing real quick? It's that, just in case anybody didn't see, up there by the sign-in sheet, there's some paperwork on the, housing, the developments, not this, but the apartments and townhouses. There's some information back, just, thought I'd throw that out there.
All right, moving on, City Manager report, Mrs. Gerstenberg.
Thank you, Mayor Gillis. We will start with an update on the Algonac Elementary School housing project. We just we got some additional drawings today, so, this is an updated version of what the site plan will look like for the, development at the school. There are, 18 townhomes proposed and 25 apartments. The city would retain ownership of the Algonac School in the middle. Neither the brownfield or the school is considered low-income housing, neither one of them. This is a layout of the apartments. There's 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments. This is, the latest elevation drawing. The colors don't really show up that much, but it's like a red, a blue, and a gray. And then there's some like porthole style windows, and it has like a nautical look to it, and, nautical light fixtures and bollards, and you can barely see them, but then the site furniture is, like Adirondack chairs, and the name of the development is Gar Woods Apartments and Townhomes. And this is the proposed landscaping plan. So, all this information will be in front of the planning commission on Monday, as well as additional information about the project. An update on the Algonac Elementary gym. The city council awarded the general contractor a contract to start working on turning the gym into a, community center. And the first step is to fix the roof. So right now, the contractor is getting bids to get the roof done. So we should see those in the next couple of weeks. Notification, let's see, the city received a grant. We got a grant from Eagle called the Community Technical Managerial and Financial Support, or TMF grant. This is to physically identify any water service lines where lead is suspected. The city will be receiving a grant in the amount of $159,000 for that. Social media fallacies. One of the things that was on social media recently was that the former CVS is going to be a mini storage. No one has contacted the city about this. There's been no plans have been submitted to turn the CVS into a mini storage. There's also a lot of rumors about there that the former Algonac Elementary School, and the townhomes and the apartments that you see in this drawing will be Section 8 because the Housing Commission is involved. That is not true. They will not be Section 8. The private developer is seeking financial assistance through the state tax credit program, and points are awarded for projects that meet certain criteria. For example, one of the criteria is there's got to be at least $5 million in public and private investment within 2 miles of the project. There has to be a nearby licensed child care. They have to install electric vehicle charges as part of the development, and they need to have a partnership with a housing commission that's experienced in the tax credit program. So just because the housing commission is involved it will not be governed by the housing commission, but they do partner with the developer on this project. That's all I got right now.
Any questions for Mrs. Gerstenberg?
I do. I'm questioning where it says at least $5 million in public and private investments within 2 miles of the project. So would that be the new development going in at the north end of town off of State?
Mrs. Gerstenberg?
Thank you, Mayor Gillis. Councilman Harris, that could be anything, any new houses that are built, anything done at Harbor Club, any investments done as the new mall owner, just sunk dollars into the new parking lot over by Anytime Fitness, any new development in the area.
I have a question, the library, especially with the gutters and when it rains and it's coming out pretty bad. And I know that DPW staff is, we don't have a lot of them. Is that something that we could, especially for that, because that's not a little, weed whack thing, hire or put that out to get that fixed?
Mrs. Gerstenberg?
Thank you, Mayor Gillis. Councilwoman Davy, we have a meeting with the library director on Monday. There's a whole agreement as to who does what and how it's all supposed to be done. And so Plain Township and Algonac are meeting with the director on Monday to talk about that.
That's good, cause there's gutters and downspouts that are down, the water's cascading off the roof all over. It's got a busted window. So, it's a blighted building right now.
Anyone else? Seeing none, move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of regular city council minutes from August 6, 2024, departmental reports, light enforcement, building, DPW, finance, fire department, water department. The communications and notices, we have with boards and commissions roster, the housing commission minutes, underneath miscellaneous businesses, the emergency tree removal at 711 Smith Street for $4,185. DPW stone delivery for $1,038.15. Participation in the Time Michigan Teal campaign for National Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, and renewal of the government license for the real property of NOAA agreement at 1530 St. Clair River Drive. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Support. Comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to, item 11A is under new business. This is adopt resolution 2024-12, setting the date to hold a public hearing to vacate an alley. When the city of Algonac purchased the former Algonac Elementary School in December of 2023, the title company noted there was no evidence that the public alley lying in the block 104 was vacated per resolution of city council. It should have been vacated at the same time the adjacent public alley in block 105 was vacated, which was in January of 1953. As a result, the warranty deed was never recorded. Now, 71 years later, it is requested the city council vacate the entire block of 104, the former Algonac Elementary School, in the best interest of the city. Chapter 20, section 20.201 of the Code of Ordinances requires that the council adopt a resolution and set a date to hold a public hearing to hear comments on the proposed vacation of alley. The date of the public hearing shall not be less than 4 weeks after the date of the resolution. The administration recommends setting a date for the public hearing for September 17th, 2024, which is the date of the second city council meeting of the month, and is 4 weeks from today's meeting. Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to adopt resolution 2024-12, setting the date of September 17th, 2024 at 6:00 p.m. to hold a public hearing for the city of Algonac to vacate the entire alley of block 104 at former Algonac Elementary School.
Second. Comments, questions, concerns?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
do you think maybe this is a little premature, especially after we just had multiple residents ask us about what the water plant can handle? Should we get that information and provide that to them first, before we move forward with any plans at the school?
Well, this would be just vacating the alley, which would.
This was just for public hearing, correct?
This is just a public hearing to vacate the alley that's between two properties that we currently own.
Thank you.
Okay, and I have a question, Mayor Gillis, about the setback on St. Clair Boulevard, it's 100 feet. Correct?
I'm not really sure on that.
Because it was gonna be, every other house, every street is 50 feet for the setback from the center of the road. And I think St. Clair Boulevard's 100 feet, and they were allowed to park there because it was a school. So do we have to look into that?
I wouldn't believe on this particular issue, because this issue is only pertaining to the alley.
Okay.
I mean, there's gonna be the public hearing there's gonna be the planning commission meeting, plus everything we brought forth to us at a later date. Mrs. Gerstenberg, did you have anything?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Gillis. So, the alley is basically where the playground is. So, the school had already built over it all these years. So when they did a title search when we bought the school, they said they could never find documentation that that alley was vacated, which it should have been back in 1953 when they vacated, alley 105.
Okay.
So they're adjacent, it doesn't have anything to do with setbacks, it's right in the middle of the property. We can't record the deed that we own it until this is vacated, as long as the county won't let us.
Any other questions? Hearing none, could I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Bembas,
Yes.
Councilman Carter,
Yes.
Councilwoman Davy,
Yes.
Mayor Gillis,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Martin,
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item 11B is to adopt an amendment to Chapter 16, Community Development by adding Article 4, Payment in lieu of taxes ordinance. At the City Council meeting of August 6, 2024, Council approved the introduction of the amendment to the Chapter 16 Community Development by adding Article 4, Payment in lieu of tax ordinance. The city is a private developer interested in affordable housing project consists of 25 senior apartments and 18 family townhomes at the site of the former Algonac Elementary School. This project is about a $16 million investment in the city of Algonac. The project will serve those who are at or below 60% of the HUD published area median income. For example, 60% of the AMI for one person is an annual salary income of $40,320, and a family of four is $57,540. There will be one senior unit serving those in 25 to 30% of AMI. This is not Section 8 housing. Estimated monthly rent are as follows: 20 units in the senior apartments, 20 of the one-bedroom units will be $875 to $1,080 a month. 4 of the units will be 2-bedroom with $1,035 through $1,296. 1 of the units will be 1-bedroom with $335 for $335. In the family townhomes, 9 of the units will be 2 bedrooms with the monthly rent between $997 to $1,296. In the family townhomes, 9 of the units will be 3 bedrooms with monthly rent from $1,135 to $1,496. The developer is requesting the city adopt the attached ordinance drafted by the city chairman, the pilot. Payment in lieu of taxes is an annual service charge paid to the city based on rents that take place of traditional property tax. The developer will annually pay 4% of the rental income minus expenses, gas, electricity, heat, or other utilities, directly to the community. The developer needs approval of the pilot in order to apply for the federal low-income housing tax credits program offered through the Michigan State Housing Development Authority. Affordable housing projects usually will not qualify for state local assistance if a local pilot is not included. Pilots are commonly used across the state to assisting affordable housing. The tax credit program is very competitive and points are awarded for the projects that meet certain criteria. For example, 2 points are awarded if there has been at least $5 million in public-private partnership within 2 miles of the property. If there is a licensed state childcare, if there is a partnership with the Housing Commission experience with the tax credit program, like Port Huron, and the project includes the installation of electric vehicle chargers. The application is due October 1st with awards expected January 2025. If awarded, construction would begin in 2026, completion in 2027. Could I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to adopt an amendment to Chapter 16, Community Development by adding Article 4, Payment in lieu of taxes ordinance.
Support.
Comments, questions, concerns? We also have a gentleman from the Ethos here to speak.
If you could, I got a couple questions.
Sure.
If you could come up for it.
Yep.
Very easy question. Everybody heard it.
I'm just curious, you keep saying that there.
This is time for him to speak, as you know.
Well, I just want, she keeps saying it's not low income, and you keep saying it's.
Point of order, Mrs.
Mrs. Tosh.
Mrs. Tash, point of order.
Hello again.
Hi.
I have a question. When we were talking about the, percentages, in the AMI.
Yes.
Now, I'm curious, when they do the contracts and all of the paperwork and everything, is it possible that they put in a certain percentage, that it doesn't say that it's not gonna go above 60%, but it won't go under, say, 40, 45 for rents?
The short answer is we're basing the rents on the majority of units being at 60% AMI.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so I mean, that's, and again, we describe this, many communities, we're doing work in Traverse City, we've had conversations in Charlevoix, we describe this as serving, those who serve us. So basically, it is, providing housing for people who work in hospitals, who work in the service industry. The mayor commented on the rents, the incomes. $40,000 is an income. Those rents are rents that have to be paid. It is unfortunate, I think, that the program is called the Low-Income Housing Tax Credit Program. It was actually created under the Reagan administration to incentivize private investment in the development of housing.
It's called the low-income tax credit, but the income is 40,000.
Yes.
Is there any percentage, is there a way they can apply to pay less rent than what is stated here?
No, I mean, they have to hit those incomes.
So this is not, they have to hit, and is there any way that they can get rent lower than the rent that is stated here?
There is no way that those rents can come lower than what is stated here.
Okay, so those are the bottom rents.
Those are the rents that make this.
Because
work.
there's speculation that you could pay 30% of that.
I'm gonna be completely transparent. If someone comes with a Section 8 voucher, they cannot be turned away.
There it is. There we go. There it is, right there for your honesty.
Thank you.
He's speaking, so, Section, but that would be anywhere in our community if someone comes with a Section 8 voucher.
That's correct.
That is not just, that's fair housing laws. That's not just you or Algonquin Place, that's anywhere in our community.
Yes, I mean.
Yeah, if there was a house for rent,
Right.
they could do the same thing.
That's right.
That's what it's gonna fill up.
You do have one for $335 a month, that would not be considered low income?
That's for someone who's a lower income, and I would think in the community that there are folks who would welcome the opportunity to pay less rent based on their income. That is the one you.
When I saw the low income myself and I questioned, I was referred to the table, but, you know, here we are making decisions. How do we guarantee ourselves we don't get into a position where there's more low income than we were ever led to believe?
Well, and that's why I was asking if there's if we can write it in there where it doesn't go below, say, like, 45, where it goes 60 at the high, and 45.
You can't.
You can't.
No. I'm gonna be completely transparent, folks. I think it's the right thing to do.
That's great. What about?
This is not a question and answer period for you. I do apologize.
Yeah. What about a sanctuary city? Is this gonna open us up to that?
Ma'am, this is not a question and answer period. This is for the council.
It's something you know.
I'll pretend I heard that from somebody here. This is not housing that can be provided legally to migrants or folks coming into the country.
Thank
We have to
you.
be US citizens.
Thank you.
It would be a violation, so I wanna talk about again, this is not public housing. This is a program created under Ronald Reagan to incentivize investment in affordable housing. The federal government has been not as supportive of public housing as it is for the last 30, 40 years. It's very challenging for the government to do that. So what they did is they incentivized private entities, typically a large bank, Chase, a PNC, a Flagstar, Fifth Third. They are a 15-year partner, 99.99% partner in this development. They need to generate those tax credits. Otherwise, it's a huge problem for them, both financially and obviously to not have issues in the community. So that was the notion of the program under the Reagan administration, was have some private equity be investing in these developments. So it's not going to be some investor from out of state. It is a large, I just want to emphasize, institutional investor. These developments are underwritten to succeed. And I'll also add that we've been approached by the city of Royal Oak because they have a major problem providing housing for folks who work, on the drag there, work at Beaumont, Cornwall. Charlotte will reach out to us because they have an issue with folks who work in the community who cannot afford to live in the community. We had conversations last year with Interlochen because they cannot bring in enough teachers to live in the community. We had conversations with healthcare providers that would like to see this developed because new nurses are typically in this salary range. And so I think it's important to keep that in mind. There's not a lot of housing out there, folks. This is private investment. That large institutional investor, Chase, 99.99% owner of this development. It needs to succeed, and that's why the program has been successful.
So if somebody comes along and you said you cannot turn away a section 8 housing person, you cannot turn away someone from low income, what would you charge them for rent then?
They would pay, the rents would be, they would pay 30% of their income. The balance would be paid by the subsidy from the voucher.
But that can be any house anywhere. Mine's the house next to me for years and years and years until, Jerry bought it, was Section 8 housing. And they rented out four apartments until he converted it back into a house. So that can happen. What I like about this is, to me, those are beautiful buildings, okay? Looks a heck of a lot better than what we have sitting there now. And we're gonna get approximately, if my figures are correct, $40,000-ish a year minimum. We will have a permanent activity and recreation center. Right now, we get $0 from that school. We'll get 40,000. I've seen on Facebook forever and ever and ever about why don't we have community centers? Why don't we have? We will have it because the gym and the cafeteria are staying. This money we're going to get from these beautiful buildings is going to pay for it. It's going to pay for the things we do.
And I just want to add too, we just got this funding awarded for development, senior development in Harrisburg. I got introduced to Jim Dewey, and to the city manager, he said, we need this, because they're having trouble housing folks. The senior development we're doing right now in Traverse City is new construction. The city of Traverse City can't get enough. So.
I like the fact too, and I gotta give credit where it's due to Don Davey, just figuring out these figures here. Okay, you talk about your stuff, but people, I don't know about you, but until I got to Algonac, I had to try forever to get a job. And this is gonna create jobs here to build it. People who work locally. Okay, now I never interrupted anybody when they were talking, so don't interrupt me. People who work nearby will be able to live nearby. I think it's win-win.
Where are they working? Yeah, where are they working?
Pardon me?
Where are they working? There's no jobs here.
Okay, listen,
I don't care. where
first of
they're
all,
working.
okay, no, we're good,
Yeah.
yeah, we're good. Okay, here's the thing. We got people that saying that we need to bring businesses in, right? We've got GG Market that just opened. We've got a pharmacy going in, a couple other things, I'm not sure. You don't think that they're gonna need some help over in these places? I know, I went into GG Market and, oh my God, I wish they'd hire some people over there, I hope they do. And, like I said, there's some pieces of paper over there. So I did a bit of looking at stuff, cause, you know, it's what I did. Now, when you look at what they have here for the housing, the rents on here, now, these are, you know, they vary from low end of that 60 to 45, whatever, of the AMI. Now, Kroger's, a cashier, that Kroger's makes between $30,000 and $36,000 a year. Grocery clerks, $34,000 to $39,000 a year. Pharmacy tech, $39,000 to $42,000. Stock clerk, $31,000 to $37,000. Butcher, $37,000 to $42,000. Do you understand that all of these jobs at Kroger here fall under that 60%? They're 45, 55 at tops, 45. These are not designed for, this is not for someone who, and trust me, I know how it goes because that's how my childhood was, where my mother lived in subsidized, a home that we had until my father had died, where we lived on food stamps. That's not what this is. are you gonna say that the people who work at Kroger are low income?
Yeah.
Really? And you don't want, yeah, but you don't want them living in, if they can find it, if they can find a place.
No
Okay,
back and
yeah,
forth,
Yeah,
please.
sorry, I apologize, that was my bad. Please. You know, how is it that we are going to, people say that, you know, we don't have enough stuff here, we don't have things to do here. I would love for anyone to write me a list on what it is that you think that we can do as a city to bring in more businesses into the city. People say restaurants. Please, how many people in the city have the disposable income to sustain a restaurant on the river because, well, I'm gonna go up and have a glass of wine and look at the river? How many people in the city have that kind of disposable income to sustain a restaurant like that year long? Sure, could do it during the season, then what's gonna happen? This city cannot sustain itself on restaurants and shops. Marine City and St. Clair, they have a different tax base. City of St. Clair, how long it's been what, maybe 10 years since they've had, War Water Restaurant? These are relatively new things, but the City of St. Clair has Cargill. We need to have year-long sustainable business, we need to have family-centered businesses in here. And I don't get it. I understand that there's people who think that this is just going to be, you know, another, you know, dive community or building somewhere. That's not what this is. It's not. And we're trying. I mean, I honestly and truly don't get it. I understand that there's concern, but after, 15 years? Then they could possibly make it to where they're not.
Correct, I mean,
After 15 years, when that loan is done and there's no money owed, then they could put whatever rent.
I've gotta be completely transparent on that.
No, please.
No, I mean, there'll be a use restriction as far as the rents are concerned, but those rents will go up over time. I mean, these are not low rents.
No, they're not.
So, and ultimately after year 15, the hope is that it would revert to the Algonac Housing Commission and becomes an asset to them. There's also an opportunity to refinance. So, but I'm gonna answer your questions honestly, so.
Thank you.
I have a question, and, it's kinda out of the ordinary, but somebody in the audience can answer. We keep talking about Section 8s. It's my understanding that Section 8s are rather rare. And all it's doing, sure, the person that's got the Section 8, certificate is only paying a certain part, but the development or the apartment rental, whoever is still getting their full amount. Is that correct? That is correct. And I don't think, from being when I was on the Housing Commission, there aren't that many even there. There's just a certain amount of Section 8 certificates. I know, Mrs. Smith, has managed, this is out of the ordinary, but there are not dozens of those certificates, are there? Mrs. Smith?
Is it okay?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because
Algonquin Place is fully subsidized, so they all get assistance. Rolling Brook, which is what you're referring to, is the other place. They all have affordable rent, but I think, I'm not sure what the number is, but it's more than half of the residents get rental assistance, which is a voucher that they have through RD, which is rural development. That they get there, and it, you know, rural development picks up the difference in their rent.
The difference?
Yes.
Okay.
And they pay 30% of their income.
That was
my question, is, so the rents are being paid, it's just where the money's coming from.
Yes.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to say, you know, my only issue with it is the last couple of meetings, and I missed a few here, we've been being told it's not section 8.
Right.
This meeting, 45 minutes ago, we were told it's not section 8. 45 minutes later, this gentleman comes up and says, absolutely it's section 8. I love.
Thank you.
That's not correct.
No, that's not correct.
That's not what he said. You said section 8 vouchers could be
But
used.
you're
correct?
alluding to
Okay, but
100% section.
just hang on a second.
Sure.
Right now it's my time to speak, I'm just gonna address the council. I love the idea of the rec center. I love the idea of a park. I love the idea of places for the seniors. But we're going back to low income is where we're going. And that's my opinion, I have the right to have that opinion. And that's all.
Well, you know, I guess I'm gonna just say, I don't believe this is low income, cause I qualify to live there. That's number one. Number two, out of the complexes that we have in these cities, that was talked about earlier, I've got a lot of friends that live in these complexes. And you know what, they volunteer in our community, they serve on different boards in our community, they're not bad people. So, if the term low income, which is not even the correct term, is what's turning everybody off. These are our own community people. Like Mrs. Davies said, these are people that work in all our different local jobs. So I understand section 8 could be used, but as he said, section 8 can be used anywhere. It can be used in a house in every single neighborhood. Section 8 can be used. It's just, it's a term, it's a voucher.
Federal law.
And they can't turn them away.
You know, the one thing I'm hearing, and I guess this won't be maybe so popular with this crowd, but what is wrong with the people at Rolling Brook that we don't want them in our community, or we don't want them in this housing? What is wrong with the people at, Algonquin, thank you, that we wouldn't want them here? They're people just like everybody else. I think it's, I don't know what word to put on it, rude, condescending, that we wouldn't, not in my backyard. But if these people can afford to pay this rent, who are we to be judging so harshly on somebody's income? Maybe they don't make as much money as the next person. That doesn't mean they're evil and bad and nasty people. It means they've chosen a different path in life. And for whatever reason, it's not looked down on them. If they can get in here and they can afford this, good for them. And good for us for providing that. Just as many people here who are worried about this having low income, I've had people call me, and I've talked to people saying that we're doing a wrong thing by not making it lower income, because we should be taking care of those in need. So it can go both ways. Now, our only other option is to leave that building vacant forever.
Please.
Thank you. And again, nobody up here interrupted any citizens. Please don't interrupt us. This company's gonna reimburse us for that. So we're gonna leave it vacant. It was vacant for 7, 8 years before we got it. Now we have a chance to do something with it that's positive. Again, I've only lived here since 1997, but people have told me there used to be recreation department in the city and all that. Well, they ran out of funds, they canceled it, this and that. The most you get now is music in the park. This will provide monies for that new recreation activity center forever. Okay, Everett will be using, Everett's kids will be using that recreation center one day. I don't see how it's a lose-lose. I'm tired of looking at that vacant old rundown building, and, it's time to decide, do we wanna move forward with Algonac, or are we so stuck in the way things are that we can't see a vision? That looks a heck of a lot better to me than what we got there now.
I agree with you. I wanted that school to be purchased. Denise really stuck out her neck for us to get it, so that we didn't have a vacant building being used for God knows what they tried to do before.
Right.
I am not, I love the apartments, I love the way they look, I am not in favor of the section 8 portion of it, I am not.
But you can't do anything about, because that's part of the law.
Well, if you build an apartment complex like that, I don't see why you can't make it be where it's not section 8.
Well, because then you're breaking a federal law and you're gonna be sued for every penny you have. Joe Biden, Kathy Harris is gonna be knocking on your door saying, hand over all the city's money, because now you guys have violated a federal statute.
You know, and I have, I keep seeing that there's no activities, there's nothing to do. Okay, then, we're putting in a community center. What kinds of things is it that people say that there's nothing to do? Even after they've read that there's gonna be a recreation center there, they still say that there's nothing for people to do. Okay, well, what is it that, beyond that people think that we need to have here for people to do? If you're talking bars and restaurants, we want bars and restaurants, but we don't have the people, population, or the income here to support them. I said it, last month, a couple of months ago maybe? Ladies and gentlemen, 17.5% of the residents who live in Algonac live below the poverty line, which is above the national average of 12.5. What is it that you think, bringing more people in here is going to bring family-centered businesses which we need. Because like I said, how else do we get anything? Because I don't have a rich uncle who, pardon me?
No, back over.
Can I say something?
No, I'm sorry. Public comment was for public comment.
Really?
Rodney, you told me to come here today.
You should have talked
Or
first.
Megan, you told me to come here to get answers. What is it?
And when this meeting's done, when he hits the gavel, that we're adjourned, stick around.
Oh, good.
Please, stick around. But, like Mike said, we didn't interrupt you guys. Every person that came up here, we did not interrupt.
But you didn't say nothing.
Excuse me?
You didn't
We
answer our
have
questions.
questions
Yes.
after.
Excuse me. We're gonna end the back and forth. If you have questions, we will be around after the meeting. Or come to the next meeting. We cannot do back and forth during each motion. That's not how the meetings work. Public comment is the time we listen to you. This is the time that we do action.
No, you can't.
No.
Mrs. Tesh,
Down here.
Mrs. Tesh,
No.
Mrs. Tesh, please.
Good luck.
Heaven forbid that you open up.
Commissioner Dave Rushing is here.
You
Heaven
can,
forbid.
please.
And as Commissioner Dave Rushing understands, we run our meetings the way we run our meetings. I'm sure you can understand that.
I can't give you any input I want.
You could come to the next meeting and speak during public comments, sir. We'd appreciate it.
So this is the first meeting I've ever been to. There is no question and answer.
No.
So I don't really know what the
Okay.
concerns
All
are
right.
if I don't have answers. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's
You
why
can
stay
come to
after
the next
the meeting
meeting
and
or
ask.
stay after the meeting.
Please.
I'm
So
calling
when
the
do you-
question. Roll
Stay
call,
after-
please.
Answer my
Roll call, please.
When do you answer the question? I'm not being mean. I'm not.
We're not, but we can't have back and forth. That's what we said.
You have a public comment section now. Yeah.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Carter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Gillis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harris? No. Mayor Pro Tem Martin?
We took on that property and, wanna see something developed there. And at this point, don't want to stop development. I say yes.
Councilman Williams?
No.
Councilman Memphis?
Yes.
Motion
Next up, we're gonna move on to item 11C, to approve St. Clair County. And I'm gonna be honest, this development is gonna go through 9 or 10 more meetings before anything is gonna transpire. So everybody will have a chance to speak on anything. It's just not a back and forth during the meeting.
You should
So
have said that earlier.
I'm sorry that you didn't know Robert's Rules of Order. That's how it operates.
There's going to be a planning commission meeting
On Monday, there will be a planning commission meeting. Item 11C is to approve St. Clair County aerial imagery terms of use agreement. On February 6, 2024, the City Council approved an agreement for St. Clair County providing services and resources, which is a combined service program for all cities and townships in the county for one annual fee of $1,000 for 6 years. Aerial imagery is one of the services that will be provided as part of this agreement 2 times per year. The terms and conditions of use agreement outlines the liability and indemnity and assigns a user on behalf of the city. This user will be the city treasurer, Alicia Bug. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion. Make a motion to approve the St. Clair County Terms of Use Agreement for aerial imagery as provided through the St. Clair County to provide services and resources agreement for the St. Clair County Corporation, whose address is 200 Grand River Avenue, Suite 105, Fort Huron, Michigan 40060, and authorize the city manager to sign the agreement on behalf of the city.
Second. Comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, could I have a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Davies?
Yes.
Mayor Gillis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harris?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Bezos?
Yes.
Councilman Carter?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item 11D is to award contract for the Algonac Swimming Pool at Lions Field. In 2018, community leaders and residents engaged in a community vision and strategic planning process to determine what the community wants for its future. One of the outcomes was a consensus that a swimming pool was an important public asset that needed to be maintained. Unfortunately, in July 2020, the pool was closed due to significant water loss and safety concerns. In 2021, the city hired an architect to design a new pool with input from a pool committee composed of residents and city staff. The cost estimate during COVID was $1.7 million. The next step was to start saving money, budget accordingly, and seek grant funding. The city was successful in receiving a Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund grant of $300,000 and a Michigan Economic Development Corporation Revitalize and Placemaking grant of $400,000. The city budgeted $1 million. On May 22nd, 2024, general contracts bids were received for the Algonac Pool project. 2 bids were received, one from Robert Clancy Contracting and 1 bid from Wolverine Pool Group. Both bids were pre-qualified for the scope of work and had team members in attendance at the mandatory pre-bid meeting, which was held on April 10th, 2024 at the project site. Bids were as follows. Robert Clancy Contracting, $2,924,301. Wolverine Building Group, $3,133,851. Bids came in higher than expected, and as a result, this contract was delayed as additional funding sources were pursued. Factors contributing to high construction costs include rapid rise in federal interest rates, increased labor costs, labor shortages, an unstable global economy, expensive shipping and production delays. Then in July 2024, Senator Kevin Tartell came through for the city with a $1 million from the state of Michigan budget number 747. The city will need to budget an additional $224,301 for fiscal year 2024-2025 to make this happen. Construction is expected to start in September with pool completion this summer. Can I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to award the contract for the Algonac Swimming Pool at Lions Field in the amount of $2,924,301 to Robert Clancy Contracting of Casco, Michigan, and direct the city manager to sign the contract on behalf of the city.
Support.
Comments, questions, concerns?
I'm so excited about this pool. We have worked long and hard. It's been too many years. Thank you to Senator Hertel for helping us find the funds. Thank you for the community to be so patient with us getting this done. This is gonna be the greatest pool in the history of pools. It's gonna be a heated walk-in pool so that people with arthritis in their knees like me can actually go in some warm water and don't have to climb those doggone stairs that they used to have. I hated that. And I hate cold. The older you get, the more you hate cold water, I think. So I'm very excited. There's gonna be a little play area for the kids, like a splash pad in the water kind of thing, and a deeper end for the bigger kids and people. And we always say the pool is for the kids. This pool is not designed just for kids. It's designed for adults and senior citizens like me and everybody here except for Rocky and Dale, to go in that pool. And it's just gonna be a wonderful addition, and I am so glad to be part of it and to see this come to fruition. And, city manager, will this be ready by May 1st?
Mrs. Gerstenberg?
Thank you, Mayor Gillis. I don't think it'll be ready by May 1st, but it is supposed to be open this season, not for this next
Okay,
season.
so, that's good. Okay, so I will contact you on May 2nd to see how it's going.
You need a hobby.
You know,
You need a hobby.
yes, yeah, I
You need
need,
a hobby.
now I need to get a new hobby, so, but, thank you, everybody out there, for being so patient. Thank you, city manager, for finding the funds. Thank you for everybody up here who just nagged the living daylights out of people in Lansing. I think they just got tired of us bugging all of them to the point of saying, give them the money and get them to shut up. Cause we all did. We've all have worked and begged and pleaded for funds, and now it's gonna happen. And all I can say is, if you haven't seen the pictures, I've got one on my Facebook page. Take a look at my profile. It's beautiful. It's just gonna be beautiful.
You know, if you want it done a little sooner, you know, you can work.
Yeah, can we
No,
apply
you
for
can
grants to get that built sooner?
You know, really, stop. No, you need to go work, is what you need to do.
I know I'm excited to finally see this happen. It's been a long time coming, and it's been a long waiting game, lots of grants that we were turned down for that we thought we were getting.
And grants that we got that we didn't think we'd get.
The grants we thought we got, we didn't think we were getting.
Another thing to bring families in.
We had no idea when the state budget was announced that that was in there until we got the phone call.
Right.
Yes, we're all young.
Any other discussion? Can I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Gillis,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harris. Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Martin,
Yes.
Councilman Williams,
Yes.
Councilman Bendis,
Absolutely, 100%.
Really?
Yes.
Good for us now, dude.
Councilman Carter,
Yes.
Councilwoman Davy.
Yes.
Motion carried.
We have a pool.
We have a pool, people.
Seriously, he's gotta work on it.
Next
You
up.
seriously
I'll
gotta
be
get over
knocking
it.
down
This
the
is what I'm
fence
saying.
tomorrow.
This is what I'm saying.
Next up, we have accounts payable.
I make a motion to approve accounts payable and payroll in the amount of $944,614.01.
Support.
Comments, questions, concerns? Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Martin,
Yes.
Councilman Williams,
Yes.
Councilman Bendis,
Yes.
Councilman Carter,
Yes.
Councilwoman Davy,
Yes.
Mayor Gillis.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Items for next agenda, Mrs. Gerstenberg?
Thank you, Mayor Gillis. We will possibly have a conditional rezoning agreement for the Algonac Elementary School property, boards and commissions appointments and reappointments, the contract for IT services. And that's all right now.
Council comments, Councilman Bendis.
Well, thank you for everybody being here. I know it's been a tense meeting. I'm gonna start on, something good. Tomorrow at First Lutheran Church, we have our Lots of Pasta event from 5 to 6 o'clock. I wanna call it, Mission Impasta, but, I gotta vote it down. So, lots of pasta. There's gonna be gluten-free options, because the young lady.
Excuse me?
Well, the young lady that I'm bringing doesn't like, can't have wheat, so we're gonna have gluten-free options.
Okay, but does it,
So why
is
are
she
you
in charge of it?
She is in charge
And
of
you're
it.
telling her? You're scared now.
But
telling her.
it's really good.
What's wrong with you?
It's free, and it's a good way to meet and talk to people in a friendly setting. I think they're gonna have like shrimp and ham and all kinds of things you can throw into a pasta. And I never knew people that ate cold pasta. I thought you always had it with spaghetti sauce or marinara or whatever, but they will have some on the side, for, any, serious Italians out there.
And the possibility of him getting hit by Gail
I know,
Anthony with some kind of
it's going up
utensil,
every
it will happen.
He's butchering the dinner.
This is what I'm saying.
Dollar General Market, DG Market, very important news to share with you guys. they have their Halloween stuff out. So if you know me, that's like, I've already been there and bought a couple of things. Wow, they have some good stuff. The skeletons are only $39, and if you go to Home Depot, they're like 60, so I got a couple of those already. Yeah, I know. You know, I appreciate everybody here. And just because sometimes we have different opinions, doesn't mean that, you know, we have to hate each other or whatever. It's good that there's different opinions, because if everybody thought the same, then there's something wrong with that. And we need to hear from you, your ideas. Please feel free to stay by and talk to us. My only thing I wanted to, you know, I've said it twice, I'm gonna say it one more time about the school. We are keeping the gym and the cafeteria for community center, rec center, whatever you wanna call it. You know, right now, I'm just telling people, Smithfield Rec Center, cool. The monies we get, we'll keep that forever. Maybe eventually we even hire somebody part-time to run activities out of there for the kids. We can't do that if we don't do this. If we don't do this, we don't have a future with that. We talked about that 24-year tax abatement, okay? We're gonna get the first year that all those buildings are there, the first full years, because they're gonna build a couple a year, right? The taxes for that, according to the thing, is $156,000, right? I know that's down the line. Right now, we're getting, I believe it's about $2,000 a year. I lost my place. So in that same 24 period, if nothing happens to that property, we get $48,000. We triple that in a 24-year thing in just 1 year. Okay? So we gotta look at that, and I'll take it a step further and say, this money that they're gonna use is for building of all the infrastructure, roads and all that to make sure that it works. How are we gonna tell somebody who owns that property, you can't build there? So when you say, but I built my house and I didn't get that, because it was not part of subdivision, the street's already there, the road's already there, the sidewalk might be already there if you're on the street with the sidewalk. So, the man owns the property, he's got a right to do with his property what he wants. He's going through the state, getting funding that way. Who am I to tell the state that they can't do that? And then after that 24 years, we make all that money back, that if it didn't happen, we would never have got it. And we triple our investment in 24 years, and that's better than what you can do on the stock market right now. That's all I got, I think.
Thank you. Councilman Carter?
I want to thank everyone for coming. We are listening, we do care, and be assured that there's quite a few more meetings that all this has to go through. There's going to be planning commission, there's going to be a lot more, and we are listening. It's good to see that the road out here is getting completed so quickly. I don't know if anybody noticed, they started at Kroger yesterday and they're all the way down here already, cleaned up and putting the road back in, so it'll be all ready for the art festival, which art fair, which is gonna be awesome. If you haven't come to the art fair, make sure you do, because it's just a really good time of seeing all the artists and all the vendors and just seeing people in the community. Summer's coming to an end, school's going to be starting, so let's watch out for our kids as they're getting ready for school. We've got about a month yet, but that's all I've got. Thanks again for coming.
Councilwoman Davey?
Seriously, thank you guys for coming, because like I've been saying it for years, people need to come to meetings, and it's good to see you guys here. I've been right where you guys are sitting, and there's a few people up here who can say that I busted more than a few chops from that time. So I get it. Trust me, I get it. It's good to see people here. It makes a difference. There's another thing. If it looks like I'm like going like this and acting, I have a really bad back, so it's not that I'm busting everything. Please don't take it that I'm have this look on my face or that look on my face because I don't appreciate what you guys are saying, because I do. In fact, I'm probably gonna get in a little bit of trouble for, engaging with people that we're not necessarily supposed to do. Come up. When he hits his gavel, come up here. There's no question that any of you have out there that I'm not gonna answer. And I make sure, I try to make sure that I have a clue. And if I don't have a clue, I'll find it out. But, you know, that's the way meetings go. And Mrs. Tesh, who was here a little bit ago, I'm pretty sure she threw me out of 1 or 2 meetings back in the day. I know how this goes. And that's what you guys get to do, that's how this goes. So please, after he does the whole gavel thing, come up here. You got a question, you want to point, got a point, bring it up here. You know, you tend to get, you know, get a little rude, then that's gonna be a whole conversation. But, please, come up here, we'll answer questions. And that's all I got.
Councilwoman Harris?
Thank you everyone for coming. The 52nd annual Labor Day weekend art fair under the umbrella of the Lions Club is being run by Chris Rock and myself. And there's gonna be, I think there was, last I counted, 85 vendors there. So there's music and there's food and there's every booth has something that's handmade. There can't be anything that's purchased online, nothing from Amazon. I really appreciate my fellow council members when we talk and no one gets mad at difference of opinions that come up. And even though I had a difference of opinion today, I still wanna reach out to you. August 26th at 6 o'clock is the meeting for the planning commission on the school. And, I kinda thought when I was up at the meeting at the county that they didn't table the brownfield, they removed it from the agenda, but that was what I heard. But that's just me, and, I do wanna thank everybody for coming, and that's all I have, thank you very much.
Mayor Pro Tem Martin?
I've done this before, and I want to remind everybody about Algonac Elementary, the building. For 7 years, it went through decay. It was going to become more and more of an eyesore, an attractive nuisance for whoever felt they could climb inside and do whatever. And about 2 weeks before, I think, it went up for bid. We found that out about 2 weeks before, which doesn't give you much time to react. We authorized the city manager to enter the bid process on our behalf to a certain limit. And if we were fortunate enough to win the bid, it went off the market. And when it was being bid on, it could have been anybody, anywhere in the world. And the situation, if that bid were won by somebody anywhere in the world, would be, we don't know what. It could have sat for another 7, 10, 14 years. We got it. And what we're hoping to do with good information is take proper direction and get something that satisfies needs in our community there at that area. So that's what we are trying to do. And I thank you for your input, and I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Councilman Williams?
So I thank everyone for coming, everyone who got up and spoke. It's actually nice seeing people get up and have opinions and comments. I look forward, I think, to speaking with you guys after we're done here.
I'd also like to thank everybody for coming, and just like everybody says, we all don't have to agree. Sometimes we're gonna disagree. In 2018, when we did a vision study, there was little orange dots that were given to anybody that walked in that room and said, what place in town do you wanna see the biggest development? Most of those orange dots were on the school property. We did buy it at auction for $185,000 because we didn't wanna we did not wanna sit any longer and watch what happened and keep happening. We wanted to take control and do something. We held a community meeting. We decided at that meeting, community center and housing was discussed. And I asked the audience that night, I said, everybody seems to be okay with community center if we do housing, if that's what's gonna help us get the community center. And that was discussed that meeting. And this housing will help us pay for this community center. The building that they're proposing is a beautiful building. And we are gonna make sure that that's what they build. We all live in this community too. Mrs. Davy lives a block down the road.
Yep.
I'm raising a child in this community, he's 9. We're not here to do anything that's gonna be detrimental to the community. Believe me, we can disagree, it's okay, but we can all talk later. I do wanna tell you, we're all gonna split up because we have to be in, we cannot talk to you in as the whole board. So we will be splitting up, but that we can talk, and that's okay, and we can disagree, but that's okay. Civil discussion is what's needed in this country. It's needed to be able to talk and say, I don't agree with you, without saying, I hate you. So, believe me, it's okay to not agree with every single thing that any of us do, and it's okay, let's get back to, we can disagree and still be civil. With that, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
Support.
We're adjourned.